Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jeremy Brown. I'm the founder and CEO of Insyteful. I spent 18 years in global financial services, and over the next 25 minutes or so, I want to talk you through the career reinvention that I've gone through, and I want to share some of my insights on that journey, and I want to talk with you a little bit about how those changes in my career have been impacted positively through Hong Kong's new economy, and why I think experience is a really important asset in this new economy, not an obstacle. So let me start with a contrast. 5 years ago, I managed $7 million card business portfolio when I worked for American Express. I was responsible for driving the global cross-border payment strategy and working across our global team to unify the different regions and markets where we operated. Today, I'm building an AI-powered learning platform. So that's quite a big shift. Almost none of my job titles existed when I started, and I think that's a really important point. So today, one of the things that really stands out to me is that to go from a career-focused corporate role to an entrepreneurial-focused business role has taught me a number of things. And specifically, it's shown me how do you build a career that survives reinvention again and again. So why does this matter? And more specifically, why does this matter now? It's not a personal anecdote. I think a lot of people, especially in their mid-career right now, are finding this for themselves. And so there's a defining shift that's taking place under every single career. The World Economic Forum released a Future of Jobs report in 2025 that put some hard numbers against what this transformation looks like. And what it tells us is that 59% of all workers are going to need reskilling and upskilling by 2030. 59%. 39% of core job skills are set to change by 2030. 78 million net new jobs will be created by 2030, including 170 million created and 92 displaced. So a lot of new jobs are going to be created, but a lot of jobs are going to be displaced. And 63% of employers say that skill gaps are their number one barrier to growth today. So I just want to sit with that set of statistics just for a moment. 59% of all workers will need reskilling or upskilling in the next few years. So what does this mean? It means that reskilling has stopped being a one-off, and it's now a step that is required at each step of your career. It's not just a stage that you go through when you're in university or college. It's not just a stage that you go through when you're gaining certifications to do specific jobs and roles. All of us need to adopt reskilling as a part of our career planning. This piece is very, very important. And more importantly, those that do are the ones that are able to make themselves really attractive in both the current job market and will be the case in the future job market as well. So what does it look like for me? As I said, my career has taken several turns already. So I started off in 2003, originally from Melbourne, Australia. And I started off my career in sales and B2B. Essentially, I worked for TNT Express, which is now FedEx, DHL Express. So I had 5 years in logistics and transport. And then I moved to American Express in an SME business development capacity. So really the first 10 years of my career was spent in a sales capacity, direct sales. Then I moved into a role in Sydney with American Express, and then from there to Hong Kong, transferred internally. And my sequence of roles from product development, head of business development, then global business planning, then into chief of staff was a sequence of role, essentially changes that expanded the footprint of my area of skills, but also the area of responsibilities in and across the business. And we took that all the way through to just after COVID broke in 2020. And like many people who were affected through through COVID and had their careers affected through that period, mine also suffered. And so at the middle point of 2021, I left American Express. My role was one of the roles to be reorganized. From there, I joined a regional fintech and I took on the role of Chief Operating Officer and worked with the founders to grow this business out from its initial core team and set up a number of key markets, including Malaysia, established the Singapore headquarters, based out of Hong Kong, and some additional markets like Australia and UK were also in focus. And so this taught me some really important things around how to grow a business quite rapidly and how to manage a team as they're coming on board, and you don't have all the set infrastructure that potentially the corporates will have at their fingertips. And then I left there and decided I wanted to start Insyteful. And Insyteful is an AI learning platform. We're building it. It's part of the Hong Kong Science Park ideation program in partnership with AWS. And so my journey has taken a change for the better towards entrepreneurship and specifically building something here in Hong Kong. Now, I want to just park that thought for just a moment. Expectation versus reality. I do a lot of mentoring, particularly with college and university age students at the moment. And one of the pieces of feedback that I hear quite routinely is, how long should I wait in my first job before I'm ready for promotion to go to my next job? And so there's a bit of a perspective that career progression is a linear line, right? It's a straight climb. I go from my entry-level job, then I take a job with more responsibilities and more responsibilities and more responsibilities. And so it's quite a linear progression. The truth is, career progression is anything but linear. In fact, as we get further along in our careers, we realize how important side steps can be. We realize how important, in some cases, back steps, right? Back steps for strategic reasons. So arguably, in my career, I've taken a sideward step. I've moved from a safe corporate role, and I'm moving into an unknown area, specifically building my own business. There's a lot of risk involved potentially for new founders, and I'm not immune for it. However, the skill development that comes with it is very, very important and very enriching. And so detours, setbacks, pivots, ultimately can set you in the same direction, only you're learning a lot more skills as you're moving forward. And so career progression itself and the idea of what that actually looks like, very, very rare is it a straight climb. Most, if not all, will have more of a squiggly line, as you can see here on the right-hand side of the screen. And that's essentially what career progression really does look like in a true sense. So for me, why did I leave a senior role in financial services? Why did I leave the certainty? So it was stable, it was senior, well paid, but I felt like there was a bit of a narrowing corner, right? And a lot of people, particularly when they come to their middle career stage, start to feel this way. So the economy was being rewritten by AI. There was in Hong Kong, there's also Web3 technology, there's blockchain, there's crypto, and Hong Kong is an amazing place for technology adoption. And I really wanted to expand the skills that I had outside of my corporate areas of expertise, and I wanted to really learn a set of new skills. I didn't want to change my skills downstream. I felt now was a better time to do it. So mid-career transitions are becoming more frequent than ever, and reinventing your path 2, 3, or even 4 times across your working life is now becoming the norm. Now becoming the norm, not the exception. So this decision may vary in terms of what it looks like for different people in this audience. In fact, there might be even some people weighing up what to do next in your career. And I just want to leave you with this thought that you don't start from zero. You start from where you are right now and from what you know today, right? That becomes the building block that you can use to shape your future opportunities and your future career. And certainly that's been the building blocks for my transition. So the myth really is that reinvention is not starting over. Your experience isn't a sunk cost, and it's really the foundation that you build on. And as I said, you know, there's this idea that if you change direction halfway through your career, that you've got to scrap everything that you already know. Some of the most effective entrepreneurs are people that have taken their corporate life and their corporate skills and applied them in different ways to their new business ventures. And so we can learn, and we must keep learning as we go through this transformation. My big lesson, however, as I'm going through the transformation, is that titles are temporary. Skills are what compounds. So titles, I'm a COO, I'm a chief of staff, I'm a executive director, I'm a CEO, I'm a whatever the case may be. I'm an entry-level college student starting my first job. Whatever the case may be, at some point in your career on that journey, somehow it's really mystical, titles become so important to our thinking. As we're moving through our career, we're thinking that our value and what we can do and our skills are tied to the title that we hold. And the thing that I've really learned over the last period of time is that that's actually not true. We need to actually change our focus and think about the skills that we have, not the title that we have. So, for example, when I left American Express, one of the first things I did, as I talked about, I was a director at American Express. And the title meant something to me. And it meant something to me in the context of that experience at American Express. What I really need to focus on is the skills that I had developed that I could use to compound and move in the new direction that I wanted to go in. So let's talk about a simple framework. As I've thought about my career transition, as I've thought about my mid-career change and my movement away from a corporate life towards an entrepreneurial life, there's essentially some things that I've thought about for myself. And I want to share what those things are because I think there's some simple steps that we're able to talk through. The first is to take an audit. You need to be really honest. You need to take a very hard look at yourself. What is your current skill set? One of the things that I did as a part of this exercise is I did personality tests. I did leadership tests. I wanted some data. I talked to people that knew me from my other career roles that I'd had across my career. I asked them pretty hard questions about my experiences and what I was effective in, some of the areas I could develop in. You have to have the data to begin with. And so I would suggest to you that there's no better time right now, especially with AI and all of its capabilities, to actually take a really honest look at your skills, take a really honest look at the areas of expertise that you have and how you can actually use those going forward. The second is to think about this idea of repackaging, right? So language is very important in the new economy. When I talked about my areas of responsibility coming out of American Express, I actually had to repackage what the terminology was because, to be honest, I'm talking with an audience that hasn't worked at American Express. They may not understand those terms. They may not understand those business statements. They may not understand some of the concepts in the same way. And so you have to repackage the things towards what is now relevant. We have new role sets. Some of the components of those new roles that are coming into the market are reshaped from existing roles that already exist. Right? So we need to think about what we have in our toolkit that we can repurpose, and we also need to think about how do we communicate that. So we're repackaging our skills, our hard skills, our experience skills for the purpose of going into the new economy and moving forward. And then we need to redeploy. So we need to be really honest about now in this new stage, this new phase of your career, what is it that's really relevant? Some of the things that we have used in the past may not be as relevant. I'll give you another example. I spent more time than I can remember on PowerPoint decks and presentation. And the truth is today it's very quick and it's very simple and very easy to use AI to create PowerPoint presentations and various presentation materials. So that's a skill that I've had to basically repackage. That's a skill that I've had to refresh. And now I use AI in various ways to help me put together the presentations that I'm doing, but I don't spend hours and hours and hours building the actual decks anymore like I used to. So we have to redeploy. And in short, you're not starting from scratch, you're translating proven experience into the language that today's market is hiring for. So to do this, AI becomes leverage. AI becomes leverage in moving quicker. And I want to give you a thought on how to use AI when you're mid-career and you're transferring into a new area of opportunity, or maybe you're refining those skills, you're refreshing those, you're repackaging those skills for the new economy. So experience tells you which questions matter. Experience tells you what things to focus on, which things are important, which things are not important, and AI will compress the cost of actually producing those outcomes. AI compresses the cost of answering those questions. In other words, the presentation that I'm providing today, I've used AI to do this. However, in doing this, I had applied my skills for producing business presentations and communications and year-end documents and a whole range of different things. I took the experience and I used AI to basically compress that experience so that I didn't end up with 25 pages of things that didn't really connect or weren't really talking to what we're talking about today. The experience is what shapes that and makes that relevant. And I think more than ever right now, especially at that mid-career level and stage, we have a lot of experienced professionals that are coming out of corporate and maybe they're starting new roles, maybe they're starting new jobs, maybe they're starting new businesses, maybe they're looking for a new opportunity and they're thinking about this area of being replaced by AI. I don't think it's a competition. I think that we can all learn how to leverage that more effectively. Which brings me to the meta skill. This is the most important skill that I have developed an understanding for. And I want to walk you through that transformation in my own shoes. So I came from American Express. When I was there, I had very effective language and communication skills inside the business. We could talk about things that were important inside the role. We talked about strategy, we talked about execution, commercialization, all of these things. And so I ended up being able to talk about a lot of different things. But one thing that I missed was learning. And so when I left American Express after COVID in 2021, I had this real desire to start learning. And so that I took my MBA and I completed my MBA. And then from there, I took some study with SEMA and I became a management accountant. And from there, I took some further study and became an advisory consultant. And so there's a variety of different things there on my career journey that have been supported by learning. And so if there's one thing that I think becomes really, really crucial in the economy right now, learn to learn. Learn how to learn. So we learn something and then we apply it, we reflect, and then we relearn. And I think the lifelong skill of learning is not a phase that we go through at college. It's something that if we can keep learning, we can keep learning new skills, we're going to be very adaptable in the new economy as we move forward. So there's a few places where I felt like I could learn better than Hong Kong. I've been in Hong Kong almost 7 years now. I love it. My family are here. And as I've gone through this career reinvention, I realized that Hong Kong itself is really built for reinvention. And there's few places where that career reinvention is easier than Hong Kong is right now. First of all, Hong Kong has an innovation ecosystem fueled by Science Park or Hong Kong Science Park technology, and fueled by Cyberport and some of the other infrastructure based incubators. Market access is very close, both to Greater China and the Greater Bay Area, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia. It's a really great base for regional work. Cloud and AI scale, so AWS and other global tech players are very present in Hong Kong. In fact, my own ideation program is in partnership with AWS, and talent schemes. So Talent Hong Kong, or Hong Kong Talent Exchange, which we're a part of, is one of the many avenues of entry into Hong Kong from a talent perspective. And so there's very few places where reinvention is as great as it is in Hong Kong. And while we're on the topic of Hong Kong, let's talk about the transformation that's happening on AI. So this city is building one of the most ambitious AI ecosystems, and this is on the back of the work that's already been done for Web3 and already been done for crypto and already been done for blockchain technologies. And so Hong Kong's really cementing its ecosystem itself. In fact, the government here's created a $3 billion subsidy scheme over the next 3 years for AI technology firms. There's more than 1,000 AI technology firms and experts based out of Hong Kong, and we're seeing that expand and we're seeing that grow. And so the East meets West is really plugged into the Greater Bay Area, and it becomes an opportunity for entry to Greater China and certainly the Greater Bay Area, as well as expansion into the APAC region. So for me as a founder, this is the environment that I'm building Insyteful inside of. Insyteful is a ideated program with AWS and Hong Kong Science Park. Our focus is to launch into regional markets, including Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia. We've got more than 4 content and platform partners already in the system, and we will be launching later this year at the end of Q3. From a founder's perspective, the opportunity to build a learning system that combines LMS, skills intelligence, more than 2,500 e-courses that are accredited from different partners around the world, and live courses is really important. My focus for Insyteful is to provide learning solutions to the SME space. So the opportunity is this new economy needs you. Hong Kong's growth sectors are short of exactly one thing: experienced operators who can take their seasoned judgment, pair it with new tools, and recreate those opportunities inside this market. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about a move, you're thinking about what do I do with my career, maybe I'm middle career and I'm thinking about that next step, then this demand is describing the opportunity for you. So let's talk about 5 things that you can do to take advantage and start moving in this direction. 5 things that we can do to future-proof our career this week. Firstly, run the skills audit. Be brutal, be hard on yourself. It's just you. Ask people that you trust for feedback. Use the various tools. Like I said, I did leadership, I did personality testing, I did different skill testing. I wanted to get the data and see what the data could tell me. Build one new economy skill. Just pick one capability. Maybe it's AI fluency, maybe it's data product. Let's focus the learning on that skill. Create optionality. So portfolio and fraction work basically allow you to do things in parallel with your corporate career or with your business job or with your enterprise that you've started, or maybe even your university study at the moment. Plug into the ecosystem. So Hong Kong Science Park, we have Cyberport, we have Invest Hong Kong. There's so many different ways that you could become involved in this economy. And most importantly, make learning a lifelong focus. Make it lifelong, because skills are the things that will compound through every single stage of your career. So if you remember one thing from today, it's simply this: you don't need a new career. You just need to repackage the one that you already have, and Hong Kong is the best place in the world to do it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. If you want to stay in touch, please connect with me on my LinkedIn, and please connect with me on my website, which is insyteful.ai. We'll be launching at the end of Q3. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.